Hey everyone, welcome to the Binmin Popscast with Dr. Bob Martin III. My name is Bob Martin IV, and I am here with someone who's very special to me and to this new podcast, my dad, Pops.
Thanks, Bob. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Dr. Bob. Pops is what I typically go by, and that's fine.
Today we are unveiling something brand new that has been in the works at Binmin for a while now, and that is a new podcast called the Binmin Popscast with Dr. Bob Martin III. Stick around to find out what this Popscast is all about, but also how these new episodes from Pops just might bring you something that you don't have in your spiritual life right now. All right, Pops, before we dive in, let's make sure people know what's happening here today. This is the very first episode of the Binmin Popscast, and we're introducing not just you, but the heart behind this podcast.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Bob. The Binmin Popscast is something that I've been excited about starting for a long time. I have wanted to have the opportunity to connect with young people, young adults, to answer tough questions and to make sure that I can just sort of help by walking alongside of them, especially in the culture that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, that's right. And for those of you watching or listening, this is going to be mainly a solo podcast with Pops, but today I get to help kick it off. So I'm very honored. Thank you for having me on your first episode, interviewing the man himself. Pops, let's get started with your background. So who are you and what led you to start this podcast?
Yeah. So my background is fairly eclectic. I practiced medicine for more than 35 years. I'm triple board certified in medicine. And as you know, we moved all over the country for training and various practices. And my medical practice was incredibly fulfilling, but even more than my medical practice, I love Jesus. I love being a Christian. And so for more than 40 years, I have studied and taught various topics in Christianity, especially apologetics.
Okay, wait, let's pause there. Because for those who may not know, can you give a definition of what is apologetics?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So apologetics is a Christian discipline that comes from the Greek word apologia, and that's found in 1 Peter 3:15, and it means to make a formal defense, or more simply, to defend. And what it's about is defending the Christian faith, answering hard questions, and proving why Christianity is the only true worldview.
Okay, awesome. Now, back to your journey. So you have been studying apologetics for over 3 decades. What else?
Yeah, so in addition to helping Mom raise you 4,
The joys of your life,
Yeah.
the apples of your eye.
yeah, let's not make this any longer than it needs to be. So in addition to that, practicing medicine, doing the administrative stuff, I also managed to complete a Master's of Arts in Religion at Southern Evangelical Seminary, where I was taught apologetics by Dr. Norman Geisler, who was the big guy.
I mean, if you don't
classic.
know who Norman Geisler is, please look him up because it'll be well worth your time,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a giant.
especially in the field of Christian apologetics.
Exactly. And so after that, I taught apologetics in churches over the course of 13 years at a seminary. I taught to college students at a Big Ten university town. I taught high school students. But in addition to teaching apologetics and various Christian topics, I'm also passionate about discipling young Christian men. And in addition to that, I love walking alongside of young people and young adults as they try to navigate a culture that is very anti-Christian.
Yeah, that's incredible. And if I can brag on you for just a second, Pops, I think I would say this journey has not just been about knowledge. You're not just about the intellectual journey in this, but you have a deep, sincere heart for people who are seeking truth, whether they're Christians or whether they're just exploring Christianity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's true. I mean, I believe that anybody that has a particular worldview needs to be able to prove that it's true. And Christianity certainly can prove that it is true. But for Christians, I try to help them see that that particular belief system transforms who they are, how they live, and how they should interact with other people.
Yeah, it's so good. So why this podcast? Why start the Binmin Popscast now?
Well, I guess it's best stated because I feel that it is my desire to have a seasoned, mature, the definition of which is an old guy, talk to young people and young adults about the same areas that Binmin addresses in our ministry. And so my concern is that so many young people and young adults never grew up with anybody that was willing to disciple them, that mentor them. They didn't grow up with Christian parents or Christian grandparents. And I want to be able to share the things that I've learned over 40 years with them.
That's huge. Yeah. What else?
Well, the other thing is I'd like to share my life. You know, it's not about just sharing what I've learned. That's head knowledge. But I want to share my story. Not that I'm anything special, but quite frankly, too many young Christians feel like they have questions that can't be answered, that they're struggling with issues that can't be dealt with, that they're trying to do that all alone. And let me tell you, where I come from and where the Binmin Popscast is coming from is not by my telling you how great I am. But what you're going to hear from me is the mistakes, the challenges, the doubts that I went through, because I don't want anybody falling into the same potholes that I did.
And you're also not afraid to tackle tough questions either, are you?
No, in fact, I think tackling tough questions is essential. Christianity itself invites questions. And because it's true, it's going to have to be able to withstand the toughest of scrutiny. So my goal with the Binmin Popscast is to provide clear and concise answers to some of the most challenging issues facing young people, young adults, well, actually any Christian, and to do it in a way that'll be helpful.
Yeah, and speaking of concise, these episodes are going to be short, right?
Yeah, and I noticed you emphasized that.
Yeah.
So unlike my ramblings on the Binmin Podcast, I do intend to try and make Binmin Popscast high quality, bite-sized information that's engaging, that a person can listen to when they're on the go, whether they're listening or watching, that's going to help give them answers that they need. Or for somebody who might just be examining or exploring the Christian faith for the first time.
I love it. So to sum up, the Binmin Popscast is all about offering a seasoned perspective of faith, sharing your journey, tackling tough questions, and helping people follow Jesus in a way that's practical and rooted in truth.
Yeah. And frankly, I'm excited to see what the Lord's going to do with the Binmin Popscast. I'm excited because I want it to equip and encourage those people that either watch or see it.
Yeah. Well, Pops, I am excited about it. I think in a lot of ways because I just think you are poised to be the perfect person or at least an excellent person to come alongside folks who need exactly what you mentioned a moment earlier. And that is for those of us who in life just feel our need for a mentor, for a spiritual mentor who can pour some seasoned wisdom into our life, who can help us answer questions that not only do we not have an answer to, we don't even know where we're supposed to go to find that answer. And there might be fear and anxiety about that. But we are all, if you're watching this or listening to this, we're trying to figure out our spiritual lives and how to make them more important to us and what our next step is. So I really appreciate how obviously you've poured into my life, but I can't think of someone better to be a wise mentor for other men and women who are watching or listening to the podcast. So thanks for letting me be a part of this first intro episode.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you for everything that you do in my life. And thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening or watching, to this first episode of the Binmin Popscast. I look forward to engaging with you on this journey.
Well, all right, everyone. If you are excited about this new podcast, be sure to like this, subscribe to this channel, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it or hear about it, that it's coming. And I am sure you've got friends like I do who could use some spiritual mentors in this season of their lives. So we hope that this will be a help for you and for them.
And don't forget to join me on the next episode when we jump into our first big topic. I look forward to seeing you then.